But the question is every success fulfillment of your life? Are you happy? Are you always joyful? Are you at a point where you say, I've got it all and this is all I needed and there's nothing to add to that? This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Murore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on subjects that they are passionate about. And always, we have a great time here. Today, we have a special guest with us who is going to tell us the difference, or rather, success versus fulfillment. His name is Andrew Beaulieu, and he's gonna be here as we wait you to share this episode with all your friends and also make comments, tell us where you are. If you have questions, we would love to answer them. If you have any comment to make about this podcast, we really appreciate feedback, so thank you in advance. And now, without taking one more minute, I'll ask you to join me as we go and meet our special guest today. Here we go. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Anthony, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Excited to be here.
Wonderful. We are excited to have you here. It's, it's an honor.
It is. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, and we are always curious to know from which part of the world we are connecting with people.
I am calling today from Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, uh, there's a I come from the other part of the world, but there's the only thing that comes to mind when you mention Quebec is an episode, a program that I used to love on TV, Just for Laughs.
Yeah, we're definitely known for that. It's great.
You are known for that. How is it still ongoing, or is it?
Absolutely. Every summer there's a festival here in Montreal. I think it's in the month of July, and I've had the pleasure of going a few times. I don't go as often as I probably should to support Montreal, but summer here in Montreal is just festival after festival, and Just for Laughs is one of the great ones.
Okay, now that sounds like a very fun place to be.
It is. I
Uh,
suggest anyone, if they can, come in the summer months. We have a very short summer of 2 months, but of really nice weather, anyways. But other than that, it's a beautiful place to be. Multicultural, great food, great nightlife. Montreal is a great city.
but I guess I need to have a heavy wallet.
To travel these days, to go anywhere, you need a heavy wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's good. So first and foremost, I need to be successful on this podcast and my other ventures, and then after I'm successful, I know I'm gonna be happy and fly to Canada and go and come and enjoy.
You give me a call when you're in the area.
Okay, sure, definitely. Now, we are here, and is this where you were born, or did you move there?
No, born and raised in Montreal. Yeah.
Okay. And how was it while you were growing up?
Well, so as you could tell, my mother tongue is English. I'm not a francophone by nature, even though my last name is French Canadian. My dad is French Canadian. My mom's from England. So being an Anglophone in a French speaking province comes with its challenges. But other than that, learning a second language and having my children learn two languages at a young age it's beautiful. I mean, Quebec just offers so much to a wide variety of community. I have no complaints. Yeah, I love Montreal and I love being a Canadian, and uh, I, I'm proud to say I'm from here.
And some of us coming from different parts of the world where there's not that much fun, there is not that much abundance, so to say.
Mm.
Because I know there are many people who we are connected to that hear of such things that you explained, that you tell us, and they are like, oh, that must be living in heaven, or that
Mm.
must be a very. How was it? Were you success? Were you born in a rich family? Were you? How was it in your family?
So I'm the youngest of four.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's about a 7 year difference between my oldest brother and myself. I have a sister and a brother in the middle as well. So my father, when we were born, we were not well off. But my father was an entrepreneur. He started his own company, and throughout the years, he started to gain some wealth. So my father is wealthy. That wasn't our roots. I remember going through school wearing hand me downs of my oldest brother. So went from my oldest brother to my middle brother down to me. So by the time it got to me, it had some holes in the knees and and was barely fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that being my experiences in elementary. As I went through high school, things got a little bit better. I would say we never went without. And by the time I got to college, my father's company was successful. Right after college, I went and joined the family business, and you know what, I was able to earn a good living doing that in my 16 years that I was there. So I'd say we did have success. We did have wealth. You know, I'm proud to say I'm able to provide a nice lifestyle for my family.
What did you take in college?
I went and studied social sciences,
And what was your father's business that you went into?
general contracting, so construction. We did the interior fit ups of retail spaces, office spaces, just commercial spaces throughout Canada. So we covered coast to coast. I never wanted to work in construction, to be quite honest with you, Anthony. Actually, I resented construction because growing up, my father was always working,
Mm-hmm.
and so I associated construction with my father not being present in the household. But after college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my social sciences degree. I didn't want to go to university and spend years hopping from program to program trying to figure out what it is I wanted to be when I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell into the family business thinking this will be part time. I'll do this for a summer, earn some money, be able to go out with my friends. And I was there for 16 years. And in the last 4 years while I was there, I was actually the owner operator. My father took his retirement in 2019. And my two brothers also worked in the company. So me and my two brothers took over my father's 50% of the business, and we became owners of the same company that I didn't want to be a part of when I was growing up.
And what's that success like? Now, in the beginning we talked about festivals and things. What's that success like? If you can give us a picture, you're living in a mansion, you're driving the latest car, or to what level of success are you?
Not a mansion. I live in a nice 2 story house with a garage, an attached garage, a 4 bedroom house with a finished basement. I have 8,000 square feet property. So we have plenty of. We live off north of the island of Montreal. On the island, you have no property. Everything's glued together, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But off the island, you can actually have access to some abundance in terms of land. So we have 8,000 square feet property. We have quite a nice house in a new area. Our house was built in 2011, so it's fairly new, as you can imagine. And but you know what? Success is success for me. That my definition of success has changed over the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Tell us how.
Success for me now is something outward. It's outward. You have a nice car, you have a nice house, you're able to go on the nicest vacations a couple times a year if you're lucky. You're able to travel, which, as we know, is not cheap these days. Maybe you have a cottage. You know, success is all these things that you're able to provide for your family, which are all great, but they're all outwards. It's to show everyone else that you've made it.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to show off our nice clothes. We like to show off our nice watches and our vehicles.
Yeah.
But success, although from a traditional metric, is providing for your family, right? If you're successful, you're able to put a house over their heads, food on the table, and clothes on their back. And by all means, I'm able to do that. But success isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
Success, like I said, are all these material items. It doesn't talk about, are you happy? Doesn't talk about, are you present in the moment with your family and your friends? Are you there for all the small things rather than just the big things? You know, in 2019, before the pandemic, I would come home and I would see my kids primarily on the weekends. My children are 8 and 6. Actually, it's my daughter's birthday today. She just turned 8. So happy
Well,
birthday to her.
happy birthday.
So eight and 6. So go back, 4 years, 4 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was seeing them primarily on weekends because I was leaving early in the morning and I was coming home late at night and they were in bed. You know, I never saw them during the week.
Mm-hmm.
I was providing for them. I was successful, but I wasn't fulfilled. I
Mm.
wasn't spending time with my children. I wasn't seeing the evolution of them on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the pandemic happened, and as horrible as it was, it brought me home. It brought me back into my living space where I was confined. And then I got to have breakfast, lunch, and supper with my family. I got to be there for story time at night and help them with the bedtime routines. I got to teach my daughter how to ride her bike, and it wasn't the result of her riding her bike that made me happy. It was seeing
Mm-hmm.
her fall 100 times, get back up, brush herself off, and that determination, that resilience, that growth that she's like, I'm gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
That was fulfillment for me. The
Mm-hmm.
success was riding the bike,
Yeah.
showing everyone that you can ride a bike. I was successful.
Mm-hmm.
The fulfillment was the process.
Mm. It's beautiful.
And
Mm-hmm.
and so that for me is my definition now of success, is saying success is for everyone else.
Mm.
Yes, it's an essential to provide for your family. I'm not saying that's not important, but the level of fulfillment of seeing your family eat and seeing them warm and seeing them dry, that's fulfillment. Success, you don't need the big house and the nice car and the nice clothes to do that.
Mm. I like two things that you pointed out there. And one of them is that although the pandemic was not good overall, I mean, a lot of people lost their loved ones, and
Mm.
a lot of businesses closed, and things were not going on well. But then we have that positive thing to pick, that the pandemic brought you home to your family, where you now felt fulfilled by what you are experiencing in the family. Because if many of us would look at the pandemic as a very negative thing overall, and will
Yeah.
not pick the positive things are there. And not only the pandemic, but many things that we go through, there is always that positive side to it. And we are glad to hear that you had a positive outcome from coming back home. So that's one. The second thing that you pointed out there is that you being fulfilled by seeing your daughter fall now again, rise up, continue. So success, to attain success, you're gonna go through the ups and downs, the valleys and the mountains, until you reach that point where you feel fulfilled. And that fulfillment is accumulative to that apex where you reach your success. That's what we get here. And that's a good lesson.
Yeah, success is the result, right? So it's you've heard the cliche or the expression, if you do what you love, if you're happy in what you're doing, you will be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because successful is the destination, and the destination you never really achieve, right? The destination never ends. Life is a long, long journey until the day we die.
Mm-hmm.
And so success, you can have bits of success, but it's really something, an always moving target. You should always be chasing it in doing what you love, in doing the things that bring you energy. And that's huge, right? When you talk about fulfillment, it's not just about being happy, it's about being energized. Am I feeling motivated? Am I feeling excited to go to sleep on Sunday, to wake up Monday, to go do what I do? You were talking to me a bit earlier about how much you love doing podcasts, your 300th episode or something of that nature. And it's like, that's incredible. You get energy from doing it. You're doing it for fun because it gives you some sort of fulfillment and
Mm-hmm.
connection to others. Success will come
Mm-hmm.
if you do what you love.
Mm.
And it really is a journey of just the next step. Take the next step. My daughter, it's a great analogy, but it was honestly just a proud moment for me, is just get back up, dust yourself up, and get back on that bike. Show your character, let your character grow, and falling down is normal. We're all going to fall down. You
Yeah,
just got to keep getting back up.
sure. And if I got it right, you actually had made the transition before the pandemic actually happened.
It
Is that
happened during the pandemic. So
okay?
I resigned from the family business. I gave my resignation in May of 2022.
Ah, okay. It's
I kind of had my realization in 2020
after
when I was home.
realizing. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
was
get
it was a lot of discussions with my wife. Of course, it was a big
okay.
decision to make, and
Mhm.
so in 2022, I gave my resignation, and I gave an 18-month notice,
Mhm.
so almost 2 years. And the reason for that was, one, I wanted to leave my legacy in the company in the best shape I possibly could. I was a key member of the organization,
Okay.
and that my partners, I had three partners, two of my brothers and a non-family member partner,
Mm-hmm.
who requested that of me as well. And in parallel, that was an advantage for me because I can continue to pay the bills while I pursued a certification in coaching. So
Okay.
I went back to school while working full time, and I got my certification in coaching, which then allowed me to open Bold Moves Coaching and Consulting, so November of 2023, November 30th of 2023 was my last day at my family business.
Mm-hmm.
And in January of this year, I did full time effort into my business, Bold Moves Coaching.
Hmm. Now we have people who are in employment who are going to a 9 to 5 job every single day. They are not fulfilled. They don't feel happy, and we don't wish them that a pandemic happens for them to come to that realization that they needs to make a change.
Yeah.
Uh, what would you tell them? And now, since you've got the experience, you've got also the certification, you've got some knowledge, and we
Yeah.
can give some tips here. What would you tell them? Could they make the transition between where they are and where they would want to be?
So I have a two step approach to this. So my first is just a realization that our careers are not our identity,
Mm,
right? So back in 2019, before the pandemic, if you asked me, Andrew, introduce yourself, the first thing I would have said is I'm a business owner. I'm a vice president of a business. I'm the head of a department, finance of administration.
mm-hmm,
And then I would have said I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a neighbor, etc. My priorities were misaligned. I was identifying myself with my career. And one of the issues that we have in society about doing that is whether you're a podcaster or you're a pilot or you're a project manager and accountant, these things are important to us. We get fulfillment from them, we get meaning from them, but they're not our identity. Doesn't define who we are. Careers are impermanent.
mm-hmm,
They can change in the blink of an eye. You can lose your job, a position could be abolished. You might relocate for whatever reason in your life. So jobs change, and they're impermanent. So it's important. Where I'm getting at with this is, don't tie your identity to your career. You're much more than that.
mm-hmm,
Focus on the things that will never change. I'm a father. That's what I say today. Who are you? I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a sibling. I'm a man who believes in lifelong partners. So I'm a married man, a proudly married man. I happen to do coaching and public speaking, which I'm very proud of, because one of my core values is to help people and to be kind and be more empathetic and bring that into the world. I believe people can benefit from that.
mm-hmm,
And that's how I introduce myself these days. My identity is not my career. My career is just where I spend my time in doing what I feel is my calling, what brings me fulfillment, right back to that.
mm-hmm,
And I believe in my core that if I trust that process, the success will come.
mm,
And so my piece of advice is, don't identify yourself with your career. Find a way to identify who you are and build your career around that. So in coaching, we talk about something called the wheel of life.
mm-hmm,
The wheel of life is, think of a bike wheel with all the spokes, and it's split into 8 different categories. Or there's different variations of this, but the one I use is 8 different categories
okay.
that talk about career, personal fulfillment, friends and family, loved ones, exercise and fitness, etc. It goes around and basically does a full 360 of what's important in our lives to be fulfilled, to be complete.
Mm,
And you'll notice that career is only 1/8 of the pie.
mm-hmm,
Yes, we spend a third of our life at work. And yes, we spend half of our waking hours, Monday to Friday, most of us, at work. So it occupies a lot of space, but
mm,
it still only represents 1/8 of who we are as an individual, what makes us feel whole. So when you're looking at your career, how does your career influence the other categories of your life? How does your career influence your relationships,
mm-hmm,
romantic relationships, your friendships? How does your career influence your personal development, your continuous growth mindset? How does it influence your health? And so when you're looking at your career, don't just look at it as this pays my bills and this allows me to live and put food on the table. How does this service me? How does my career serve me into being whole?
mm,
And you might find that it's not. A lot of people, at least in the people I know here in North America, in Montreal, Toronto, we devote so much of our effort and time into, as I was doing pre-pandemic, so much of our time into our careers, we're neglecting the other areas of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And the long-term consequences of that don't lead to fulfillment and do not lead to success, because success without the other components is not success. Success with just monetary value is nothing. You
Mm-hmm.
can't buy friendships, you can't buy romance, you can't buy health, you can't buy personal development, you can't buy, a lot of these other components of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So focus on your career as a monetary value. I know it's an essential evil. We all have to earn money to live, but there's a certain point where you're sacrificing too much for your career. So
Mm-hmm.
to summarize, the first thing is don't let your career identify yourself. Figure out how you identify yourself outside your career and then build your career around that. And the second thing is look at your whole wheel of life. And this is something easily found on the internet. If you just Google it in, there's many variations there. Look at the wheel of life and then say, how does my career influence my other areas of my life? And once you have the answer to this, you'll know whether where you currently are is in service of you or not.
Mm-hmm. Look at the wheel of life and identify where you are, what's lacking, and what you could do about it. Um, so we get it that you're just a few months into the coaching, and how is it going? Just to be curious.
Well, so I've been coaching for basically 2 years now. So I
Oh,
have,
okay.
um, um, I
Oh,
was doing,
you
I
were
was doing
coaching before you moved. You were,
correct. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
was building the practice while I was still working full time. So I was essentially doing both.
Yeah.
And then it came to a tipping point where I was able to now make this my full time effort. But to answer your question, it's going very well. First thing I'll say is I'm having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rare that someone can say when they're doing working that it doesn't feel like work, it feels fun. I'm enjoying myself. I'm meeting new people. I'm building connections that I would have never made otherwise if I never made this move all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dipped into a whole new creative part of my brain. I was working in construction, obviously. My specific role was head of finance and administration,
Mm-hmm.
which is not my background, by the way. As I told you, I have a deck in social sciences. So I
Yeah.
learned it with experience, hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm dipping into so much more creative aspects of my brain. And I just feel myself growing every day, and I'm learning and I'm enjoying myself and I'm energized. I feel excited to get up and sit here and work or go out and meet people. Later this week, I'm going to Boston just to meet and do a conferencing event and networking event. And I'm so excited just to go meet new people. And I think I think we undervalue that connections with other people because you never know where those conversations are going to go. You
Mm-hmm.
never know what they're going to bring to you, whether it be a friendship, whether it just be someone who gives you some knowledge, some direction in life, or maybe just a good conversation in the moment that makes, hey, that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we undervalue connections way too much, I think.
They are good. Their connections are great things to have, and just like we are having this conversation, and as people are watching, they bring people close together. They can, as you say, you never know where it ends up. Now I'm imagining that we have several phases of life. You're in college, you do sciences, you go on to head a company, and in the midst of the company then you come into coaching. Now this is where you have found yourself, and I'm curious to know what your what was your as far as back as you can remember, what was your biggest dream to be what before you were in college, before you
Yeah, the childhood dream, right?
childhood dream, yeah.
When I was younger, I really struggled with that. If I'm honest with you, Anthony, I didn't have a passion growing up. I didn't know what that was for me, which is why I went to social sciences because I didn't apply myself in high school to get the grades to go into more advanced programs in college.
Okay.
So social science is kind of like an entry program. If I'm being honest, it's not
Mm-hmm.
something that I flashed around,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw it through. And then I didn't go to university because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't have a calling, a passion, or at least I didn't know what that was at the time. And it was only through working in my family business that I really learned that I loved working with people. I was in a management position. I started at 20. I was in a management position by 23. And the
Mhm.
people that I was managing were twice my age. And I quickly learned and adopted a servant leadership style where I put myself in service of my employees at all times. Not only my employees, my subcontractors, and my clients.
Mhm.
And I thrived in that. I really enjoyed it. It gave me energy. And so, um, as the company grew and I got more direct reports, and as I became an owner, and then the whole company became under my purview, I just thrived in that. But the construction always got in the way. The deliverable of handing over a construction site, a project, always came in conflict with what was important to me, which was helping our employees.
Mm.
And so for me, there was a friction point there. And because I had three other partners who we weren't necessarily aligned in that vision,
Mhm.
um, I felt that was a crossroad for me and said, okay, so how can I take what I love most, extract it from the company, and make it my full time effort? And I had a life coach. The company had gotten me a life coach back in 2017. So
Mm.
I had a little bit of a feel of what that individual did for me, that influence that she had on me to help me. She didn't teach me things that didn't, she unlocked things that was within me. I
Yeah.
had the potential and she brought it to the surface. She kind of gave me the flambe of confidence that I needed to step into my own person. And when I was thinking of leaving the family business, I wasn't sure it was going to be coaching. I had no clue actually. I said,
Mhm.
I'm leaving the family business. Now what? And I called my coach back and I said, I don't know what to do. And it was during a conversation much like this one that I said, hey, what if I did what you do? What if I gave that a try? And
Mm.
we thought about it for a second. We said, yeah, that might work. You have the personality for it. You have the character for it. So I actually went to a career counselor after her, who puts you through a bunch of psychometric evaluations to see what your likes and dislikes are, what your values are, and they kind of come up with these potential career directions for you.
Mhm.
And coaching was actually number two on my list.
Mm.
So I had a thought of coaching, and then I did this evaluation, and coaching came as a top answer. So I said, I'm going to give it a try. And for the first time in my life, I'm going to go down a path that is unpaved for me. I have no idea where this is going to bring me in life, and that's okay. It's scary, but that's how I know I'm leaning into the right thing, because it's the things that scare us that we should run towards.
Mm.
And I said, if it's not coaching, it'll be something else, but at least I'm going to cross this off my list. I just happen to really like it. I
Mm.
love it.
Mhm.
Like, I love it. And it's actually opened up other doors for me already. And so it just shows you that we don't know what tomorrow holds. You just have
Yeah.
to take that step.
Sure. Sure. What's your most ideal person that you could look for to coach?
So bold moves, a lot of people associate that with big flamboyant changes, like a career transition is a bold move. And it is,
Yeah.
but that's really the presentation of the bold move. The bold move is all the small steps you take before that.
Mhm.
That bold move is being able to say no to someone when you're typically a pleaser who says yes. A bold move is setting up boundaries when you don't know how to do so and you're always sacrificing your own well being for other people.
Mm.
These are all small steps of bold moves that lead up to a nice display, something bigger. Leaving a relationship, leaving an employer, relocating from one side of the world to the other. These are all the displays of all the small, bold moves that happened prior. My ideal client is someone who's willing to say yes to do those small steps. Someone who's recognized they're at a point in their life where they can't keep going the way they're going. They want to change something and they don't know how. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling alone. They don't have the right community of support and encouragement. I want to be that person for them. I want to be part of their story. I want to be part of their community. And I don't want it to stop at the time that we're done working with each other and you've made that big display of what you're doing. I want to be part of your story for the rest of your life. I
Mm.
want to I want to be I did this to build connections and build community. I had the money, I had the success. I'm looking for fulfillment and I get fulfillment from connecting with people. So I
Mm.
want to be part of your transition. I want to help you make those small bold moves and I want to stay in touch and I want to build friendships and I want to build a community.
Well, that's beautiful. Very beautiful. So, how do people get to contact you?
The best way, well, there's two ways they can do it. They can go through my website, www.boldmovescoaching.ca. You'll see it there
Mhm.
on the screen. On there, there's a landing page where you can contact me directly from the website, or you can contact me on LinkedIn under Andrew Beaulieu. I'm there. Connect with me, follow me, message me. Please reach out. Don't be shy. I'd like to set up a conversation. There's no obligations. Let's just have a conversation and see if we have a good connection. And that doesn't necessarily mean in a transactional aspect either. That just means let's see if we if our characters jive.
Yeah, we never know what lies ahead.
No.
The thing is to connect and find out.
Yes.
Yes, and to everyone who's listening to us or watching us, we really thank you for taking your time and being here. And we believe that you are going to head over to uh, boldmovescoaching.ca and connect with Andrew uh, Bolu. What does that name come from?
It's French Canadian. I apologize. It's my father's name. I didn't have a choice in it. It's Beaulieu.
Oh, Beaulieu. Oh, sorry for that.
That's okay. You did it. You did it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and it's good. It's a good one. It's the first time I'm seeing it, and there's always that first time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, for someone who wants to make a career change, someone who wants to move from uh, an unhealthy relationship, you don't know how to do it. There's always that first time, and that first time is to contact Andrew and do it.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that.
Yes, we really appreciate you coming to this episode to be with us, and yeah, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun being here and to be able to share my story. So, hope it resonated with a few people and they're feeling a little bit inspired.
Yeah, we hope that. Before you go, leave us with a few words that we should never forget.
These are not mine, but these are words that I live by, and it's by John Rohn, which is happiness is not by chance, it's by choice.
Happiness is not by chance, it's by choice. You
Yeah,
choose to be happy.
that's right.
Yeah, and we can see that you're happy, and we wish that every person who's watching us or listening to us to be a happy person.
Agreed.
Yeah, so this is all about today's episode at Now Tell Us. I have been your host, Anthony Murore, and together with our wonderful guest, Andrew, the other name I'll still go and practice after we are gone. We are saying just be bold and make that move and keep it positive. Thank you very much and bye for now. Bye.
Bye.